Feeling good today?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You got everything like all situated?
With regards to what?
Everything, just life in general.
Eh. Is there anything ever really life in general okay?
Oh well, eh, we make witty banter around here in the lair.
We
Uh,
do. We do. But I got the fourth wall is in the Staten Island Summer Shorts Film Festival,
okay,
and I got an email from the guy yesterday because he did another little like he did like a Zoom reading
okay.
of some of his scripts, which was pretty fun. We read about 5 of them.
Ah, not bad.
Yeah, they were like short scripts. I think maybe like
So you
10,
get so
15
you'll have another production that's coming up in the works.
Kind of, yeah. There's a he let everybody know who was in the Zoom, and he blasted it out to everybody's email that I believe July 1st he's doing a contest, a 10 by 10 contest. It has to be you have to do a short film.
Okay,
You have to use some of the elements that he will release later on, and
10 minutes, 10 elements,
I don't know if
10 actors.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's 10 elements, but you have to use some of the to be eligible for the grand secret prize, whatever that is. You have to use the elements that he put forth in the rules, which will be released later.
Okay, so
So get
well,
your shit together.
I think it's more you get your shit together.
Hey, I have my shit together. I just gotta
Yeah.
write the damn thing.
Okay. Oh,
As soon as I know what it is.
I still got to look at the script that's
Yeah.
sitting there, but I should be able to get to that a little later.
Okay.
But welcome everyone to the Dragoon's Lair podcast. I am the Blue Dragoon himself, Daniel the Dragon, and with me, as per usual, we've got King Hamster Pellet himself.
What's up, people? Mike here, as you know and love me.
Yeah. For some reason, it seems like they love you more than me, but it's my show.
Yes, but you know,
Cocky son of a bitch.
look. Some people have it, some people don't.
No, I think I think
as the bad guy once said, I just ooze machismo.
No, what I think it actually boils down to be, it's my show. I'm expected to be here. You have been replaced twice now.
Yes, but every
To
time I
varying degrees of success.
yes, but every time I came back, people were like, "Yes, he's back."
Yeah, well.
They love me. They really love me.
Yeah, you wish.
I do.
Yeah. So now we're here in the lair, and we're going to be taking a trip back in time because it's one of those moments where I think time travel's necessary again. And, we were children of the 80s.
And we still are children.
And, well, for the most part, yes. So since we have a lot of 80s in our blood, we figure might as well time travel. Before we step into the time machine?
Yeah, before we
By the
hit
way,
88 miles
do you
an
like
hour.
the chair?
Yes, I'm getting used to it. I mean, I like how the other one kind of reclines a little bit, but
This one reclines, but I need you to actually sit up and so we can have your voice project.
I'm using a microphone. How much more projection do you want?
You've used the microphone to varying degrees of success in the past.
Yes,
You've
I
gotten
have.
better.
Yes,
Now
thank
we
you.
just have to worry about the fidgeting. So if we can get
I'm
you,
getting to it.
we get you.
I was
If
little.
if we get you stationary, where you're not reclining back, it should work. Hopefully,
It should. Anyway, before we jump into the DeLorean and hit 88 miles an hour, we all know people have been talking about this Fantastic Four reboot.
yes.
I took the liberty of creating my own Fantastic Four.
Yeah, because what was it? The thing that sparked it all off was them talking Margot Robbie, I believe, for
Actually-
Sue Storm.
I actually wrote this like literally an hour before I saw that article.
Yeah.
So I have no problems with Margot Robbie being Sue Storm.
Okay.
Some of them you're gonna be like yes, other ones you're gonna be like what? But Mr. Fantastic, keep him John Krasinski from Multiverse of Madness did an awesome job.
I completely agree with
want to
that.
see more.
Yeah, I agree.
Now this is literally about 16 minutes before I read the article about Margot Robbie.
Okay.
I had Haley Steinfeld, the girl from
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Bumblebee, Pitch Perfect.
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Okay, I just drew a blank on that one. Now for the Human Torch.
Now the thing is, because she is now the new Hawkeye, basically, you know, yeah, I don't see that casting happening.
Well, I don't.
I think Margot Robbie's a better choice
Margot Robbie is a better choice.
if it is
If it
true
is
and it
true,
happens.
if it's true and it happens, I think because anything can happen. It could be okay. We can cancel Hawkeye. Who knows? And
No,
who
no,
knows? No,
never.
I mean, who knows if we're going to see Hawkeye in another movie again? Who knows? We just don't know. But anyway, the Human Torch. I casted Zac Efron
You know what? I can kind of see that.
because
The arrogance, the
yes, he has the
cockiness.
cocky arrogance,
Yeah, I
and
can.
he also has. If you ever watch Baywatch, he has the
No.
no. It's that movie is funny as hell. I'm sorry. He's proven in that movie he can make fun of himself, and he has comedic timing.
Well, he's proven he can make fun of himself just by being Zach
Himself.
Efron.
But
But
he also has comedic timing in that movie.
okay.
Okay, for the Thing, I did two. Okay,
Oh God.
For Ben Grimm,
Okay.
because we all know this thing is going to be CG. But for Ben Grimm, Michael Cudlitz from The Walking Dead, Abraham,
Oh, you mean the new Lex Luthor?
getting Lex Luthor. Hey, I'm just throwing out names here.
Okay.
And we can also do Michael James Shaw. He was from he was in he was in the last season of The Walking Dead. He was also in the first Resident Evil movie, the black guy.
Okay.
I mean, I've
You
seen
know what? I could see Ben Grimm being played more as an African American actor because not just because he mutates and everything, but seen more as like a flying hero, like a hero as a pilot and stuff,
Mhm.
as opposed to Fan Four Stick, where we decide we're gonna make the Human Torch a black man.
Yeah,
So setting the black man
man
on
on
fire
fire.
was just like
Yeah, it's just what the
I think the
fuck.
only thing funnier would have been if they would have made him a gay black man and saying "Flame on." Yes, I went there because it would.
Flame on.
Yeah, because the casting.
Ooga.
Let's be real here. Michael B. Jordan is a phenomenal
Yes, he
actor,
can. There's
but
just
he could not save that
no,
fucking role for anything. That was a horrible
no.
script.
That and the only reason they did that was because
Keep the rights.
to keep the rights. That was it. Okay, now let's jump to the bad guys. Okay, there's only real two bad guys that jumps out, and one is Doctor Doom, obviously.
Which has not been done
No, it
correctly
hasn't.
at all.
No, and Galactus. Okay, but for Doctor Doom, Christoph Waltz.
Maybe.
I like. He has definitely has the demeanor. He has just like that voice about him. Like when he speaks, he just has that voice. Only mark I would have against him is he's too short. Okay. Again, you can throw out Michael James Shaw. He could be Doctor Doom. Again,
Mm.
because again, he has that just air about him where he could be like, okay, I'm gonna fuck you up.
All right.
And Mads Mikkelsen from he was in you know who I'm talking about, right?
No, I have not a
He
clue.
was in Casino Royale with Daniel Craig.
Was he the villain?
Yes, he was.
Oh, okay.
He was the main villain in Doctor Strange.
Okay.
I could see him.
But
Uh,
he's now already been in the Marvel
yes, but
MCU,
again,
so
I
it's
could see. But again, who does Marvel have the rights back totally, or is this
the
gonna be
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Oh, Marvel owns the Fantastic Four again. They got all the rights back for everything. I think except like because X-Men was always a little tricky,
Yeah.
but I now that they own Disney owns Fox, yeah, they got the rights back for the stuff.
Okay. Now for Galactus, we all know he's going to be a big CG guy, so
So
we can ask James Earl Jones to come back and voice Galactus.
uh,
Idris Elba, that's his voice.
okay, Idris
Idris
would be
Elba.
a little more.
Okay. Ian McShane.
You got me lost there.
He was in the Hercules film with The Rock. He was
Somebody
in
there was a Hercules film with The Rock that people saw.
yeah. Um, he was
Yeah, no,
in
I didn't see that one.
he was in Pirates of the Caribbean, I believe, on Stranger Tide.
Was that four, was that
That's
4, 5,
four.
or
I
6?
think it's 4.
Yeah, because everyone forgot about number 4.
Yeah, I think it was 4. He was in he played Professor Broom in the last Hellboy.
Didn't even see that one.
I like that one. That one's good.
Nah.
That one got shit, but he just has this, like, the way he talks. It just,
Well,
it resonates.
well, we'll see we can see what happens, but who knows?
Oh, and my last, because he got smudgy. Ron Perlman as Galactus.
Now that one would be an interesting take because, yeah, James Earl Jones. It's too like
Too
classic.
cliche.
Yeah, Idris Elba's got that cool voice,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he might make Galactus sound a little too cool.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
So, Ron Perlman would be a very gruff.
Did you know he also voiced Batman?
Which one?
It was for a video game, I believe. I think it was for the PlayStation 2. He voiced it was
terrible gameplay on the PS2, so I kind of
Yeah.
avoided it like the
it
plague.
was like Justice League something, and he voiced
Yeah,
Batman.
yeah.
He didn't do a bad job either.
No, but it was a bad game.
It was a bad game, but
Mm.
the cutaway scenes are pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm done.
You sure?
That's all I have.
That's all you got?
That's all I did for the Fantastic Four.
So, if you would like to send in your casting
Yes,
ideas,
please do.
so please let us know, and you can email us at dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. That's Dragoon's Lair Podcast. Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. It's all one word. dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. See, I didn't mess up this time.
No, you didn't. And I'm actually getting better because I'm mouthing along with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I've tried to avoid that because that, I think, is what screwed me up last time. Because it's like I looked over, I saw you doing it, and it was just like, damn it.
Yep.
No. So, yeah, you can contact us, drop us an email, and let us know your casting choices for the Fantastic Four.
Or any other film you would think we would be interested in seeing.
Yeah, pretty much. And, so I think we should take a trip through time. And,
Power up the flux capacitor there, Marty.
yeah, let's see. Can we give ourselves a little music to travel to?
Oh, please do. Please.
I love fucking with you.
I
had to. No,
Or
unfortunately,
maybe even a little, if we're going to go Bill and Ted, maybe a little extreme Play With Me.
unfortunately, did not come with the soundboard.
Cheap ass soundboard.
Hey, it's been nice to you. Every now and then you get a little applause.
Wow, that was short.
Yeah, just like your career.
I thought you were going to say something different.
Maybe another day. You gotta set that shit up now. So we are going in the Wayback Machine because I don't like the effects of having to go 88 miles an hour in a DeLorean. It's a DeLorean.
So?
Yeah, I was amazed, Marty. The only issue I had with Back to the Future was that he crashed the DeLorean. When you crash a DeLorean, because it's a steel frame,
It all falls apart.
the doors should not have been able to open or close again.
Well, do you know why it happened like that?
Why?
Because it said so in the script.
I don't care. They did it better in the Goldbergs where the DeLorean got dinged and they could not close the doors.
Okay, so you have no problem with a mad scientist having terrorists steal plutonium, making a time machine out of a DeLorean because he got to do it with some style.
No.
But the problem that you have is when he crashed into the
Barn?
the doors would have either remained open or remained closed. That's your problem?
Yes.
You see the shit I have to put up with here, people?
Listen, there are certain logistical elements to things that can be a little confusing. And that's one of them. But I prefer the Wayback Machine because it's a nice smoother ride.
Actually, let's just jump in a telephone booth.
That one's a little trickier. If you don't know the right time.
Maybe you don't have the right time, yeah, but that's what I give you the phone book.
Yeah, that phone book didn't work out too well at points.
Mm.
But yeah, so
Okay, so let's hop in the Wayback Machine, power that bitch up, and
Yeah.
let's head back to the 80s. Yeah. I like the 80s. The 80s is fun. All right, so what are we
all
talking
right,
about?
so welcome to the 80s, folks. We are back.
I feel a mullet coming on.
Oh God, no. It's the He-Man cut for me.
It is. It's a bowl cut.
The very bad bowl cut.
It bangs.
Yeah. So, we talked a lot about some of our top stuff from the 80s last time we took a trip here, and I think we should focus in on cartoons and toys.
You just said two words that I am a master in:
Uh,
toys and cartoons.
those are the only things you're a master in. It's Mike, we know you've spent way too much time with toys and cartoons.
Why did you say that in the past tense? I still do.
I was trying to give people some hope that you've matured.
Anybody who knows me know that's foolish. No, I will never mature.
Well, that's the equivalent of people that know me know within 5 minutes know that I'm going to say exactly what's on my mind. And if it hurts your feelings, well, I said it not to hurt your feelings, but because there's truth in it. So I like to burst people's bubbles about themselves. Exactly. So, with that said, I was looking up some cartoons in the 80s and stuff because I remember them, but sometimes the years overlap because we did have some that started in the later 80s, moved into the 90s. But we're going to talk if they started in the 80s.
And it's an 80 cartoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're going to start with one that I remember fondly, especially because it'll also tie into a toy discussion because do you remember when they first aired DuckTales?
Yeah.
The movie. The five episode movie.
Because they did make a DuckTales movie that had Christopher Lloyd as the bad guy. Yes.
I remember. Not the magic lamp.
Yes, I do remember the 5 episode. Yes, I do.
And which ties in because what advertisement do you remember toy-wise was a big thing because they gave it a show as well. Teddy Ruxpin.
Teddy Ruxpin was in DuckTales?
The commercials they gave because they had a short-lived like Teddy Ruxpin's live action thing.
I remember the cartoon. I don't remember the live action.
No, there was live action.
I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember. I remember the cartoon.
You weren't traumatized enough, were you? There?
Probably not.
So DuckTales. Now that had one hell of a theme song. It still sticks in your head as you just think about it.
Life is like a hurricane.
Oh yeah. And let's face it, that they've brought it back, but nothing
was. You can't
top the classic.
It's like that saying: you can never capture lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. Well, you figure they had to come up with. They wanted a cartoon, but they couldn't use Donald for everything.
Right.
So they decided we'll focus on Scrooge and the nephews.
Exactly. And come on, everybody wanted to be a Junior Woodchuck with the guidebook.
Oh yeah, that guidebook had everything in
How
there.
to make a nuclear accelerator. Let me check the Junior Woodchuck guidebook. Okay, we need duct tape.
Yeah.
We need acorns and 4 leaves.
Yeah. Now that first 5-part
oh my god
episode mini movie was absolutely incredible. And do you remember the full premise for it?
Yes. Scrooge was going to find a like he had like a treasure map or something to find like the ultimate gold or something like that, and then there was a I can't remember the guy's name, but he was a dog looking character who had an accent, like a French-ish accent, and he was also trying to find it. But
the constant wheezing.
Yes, the constant wheezing. He was trying to find it for like centuries because he was immortal somehow. Donald got drafted back into the Navy, and he was on an aircraft carrier, and the captain of the aircraft carrier voice was Peter Cullen.
Yeah.
And
Peter, I'm in everything, Cullen.
Not everything. We'll get to that.
For the most part, he was a huge part of the childhood. Him and Frank Megatron Welker.
Yes, but we go back to DuckTales. So Donald, before he gets deployed, drops his nephews off at his uncle's house. His uncle is, of course, Scrooge, the rich guy who can swim literally in money. Not sure how that works.
It just hurts the rest of us if we try, and I think we've all tried at some point.
Actually, no, because I never had enough to fill a money bin.
Well, you didn't have enough change you could just throw on the bed and like try.
No.
Oh.
If I can't submerge myself, why do it? I don't do things half-assed. But so they went to go find it. Scrooge get dumped with the nephews. Didn't want the nephews. The nephews like stow away or something like that, and he ends up liking the nephews because the nephew saves the day. The butler's name is Duckworth,
Yeah.
and they find the gold, but it brings out like the
No,
greed
yeah, it was,
in everybody.
but it was, what was it? I think it was Mrs. Duckworth though, because brought in Webby.
It wasn't Mrs. Duckworth, it was Mrs. Bentley, Benchley, something like that.
Mm.
Beagley, no,
Beagley.
Beagley. No,
Yes.
no, 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 no.
No,
That
they,
was
they were the
the
Beagle
Beagley boys.
Boys. Beagle
Be-
Boys.
Beagle boys and Mrs. Beagley had Webby. Did she came
Yeah.
out? She came out in the first episode.
Yep. The
Few
first
episodes?
few episodes, that's when they introduced, because the boys needed to be
Right,
looked after,
right.
because they figured out the ship was part of the toy ship was part of the map
Yep,
to find all the gold.
yep.
It
And
that
it
it was an epic
was epic.
start
It
that led
was
to a long running
it
series.
was. I mean, you want to talk about coming out swinging? Those first 5 episodes, holy shit! And I kind of felt. I mean, like at the end, because like they found like the temple in the desert, and Scrooge and the bad guy, they kind of got overtaken by their lust for gold.
Their gold fever.
The gold fever, yes, gold fever. And Scrooge finally comes to because he realized, hey, I have my family, which is more important than gold. The bad guy was like, I have no family, fuck them. So it just the desert swallows it up, and like the last scene you see Launchpad and everybody else taking the family away while the bad guy is there with a shovel, just trying to dig out the temple again.
Yeah, that was never going to happen.
But no, yeah, DuckTales amazing.
Yeah. Now, do you remember another 5-part episode series that it actually never went any further than the 5 episodes? And I've actually never seen the final 5th episode,
Oh,
Insectars.
Insector.
They were alien, like it was on an alien planet with bug people that they rode on giant bugs.
I remember the toy
Yes,
Insectors,
the
but I never seen the cartoon.
you never saw the
Never
cartoon.
saw the cartoon.
The cartoon took place. It was in the afternoons
Mm-hmm.
at 4:30,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember it because it was on Fox, which was let right afterwards was what? What's happening? So it would go right into an episode of What's Happening. So yeah, it was it seemed really cool. And it's like, okay, few scientists have merged like people and insects, and they were riding on these giant bugs. It looked so cool. And if you remember, the swords looked like almost like a honeycomb kind of
Yeah,
like design, and it's like, nope, all gone.
I remember the toys because I remember
Yeah,
riding the bus to school and seeing some of the kids on there
it was
with them.
yeah, it was supposed to be 5 episodes, and I never got the 5th episode, and I was there every single day in front of the TV waiting for this thing. And I don't know what happened, but I never saw the 5th episode.
I never saw any of them.
Yeah. So,
All right, so that's
but
one on you. So next,
okay.
how are we doing? 5 each?
No,
You just
we're just
rambling?
rambling.
Okay, so you do one, I do one.
Go ahead.
Okay, of course you got. Okay, I saw that one, but I'm gonna go a little more. Yeah, I guess just by that, I'm guessing you're going a little more mainstream. I want to go a little more obscure.
Well, that
Um,
Insectors was pretty obscure.
Yeah, that was pretty obscure. There's just so many to choose from. Okay, this leads into a toy line. Starcom.
Oh my god, I barely remember that one.
I remember Starcom. I had the toys first. They were little. The action figures was only maybe an inch to 2 inches tall. But what was cool about them, on the bottom of their feet, they had magnets. Because in the show, they would go like maglock to make them stick to their
The ship.
to ship while they're in outer space so they don't float away. I'm like, that's cool. So they had little tiny magnets, and my mother would find these little guys stuck all over the fridge. uh, they were, I forgot the name of the bad guy that they would fight all the time, but it was like the U.S. Space Force called Starcom versus the bad guys, and the bad guy ships always look like triangles, very geometry. Um, yeah, there was. I had to like the vehicles were the coolest part. They had the big ship called the Star Max bomber. I'm like, amazing, great. They had like little trucks, and each one of these vehicles had spots where the guys would stick to with the magnets.
Yeah.
And the the toy line ran longer than the TV show. I think the TV show only had maybe 10 episodes, 5, 10, somewhere around there. I don't, no more than 10, I
Mhm.
believe. Um, yeah. So the TV show lasted maybe half a season, but the toy line ran for like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Because,
Well,
but yeah,
now
Starcom.
when you talk toys, those toys had to have been pretty small and not as expensive.
The the action figures were only about maybe 2 inches tall,
Okay.
but the vehicles were bigger.
Yeah.
I'm
So
like, yeah,
it was more to sell the vehicles
yeah, it was
than
more
it
the
was.
vehicles than that. And the cool thing was they were all like interchangeable. Like, it wasn't like, okay, you had this character just specifically for this. No, you can mix and
Yeah.
match. And
Now, it's funny because it's like there were toy lines that it's because if you remember, we all know Transformers,
yeah,
but most people forget that the original Transformers figures were so expensive because they were die cast metal.
yes,
So they weren't cheap. So for anybody whose parents couldn't afford them, you got the budget
GoBots.
brand GoBots.
Honestly, GoBots weren't. GoBots gets a bad rap. I mean,
They do,
they,
and I
they,
think
they
they
get shit on a lot.
but at the same time, it really was like when you looked at the GoBots versus Transformers, it was little tiny plastic figures that it was like, wow, these are really small. Meanwhile, you had Transformers, die cast metal, and you could just take like Megatron as an example. He was a gun you could fit in your hand. Like it was a German Luger like toy outside of being a robot. You know, you had Optimus Prime as a hard 18 wheeler. The only part of him that wasn't was actually the trailer.
Yeah,
The trailer was the only real major plastic component other than maybe his wheels.
I'm trying to find out who made the GoBot toys right now, so we can see. Just I know we all know Hasbro did
Yeah.
Transformers.
Oh, let's see. GoBots. Mm, GoBots. It was Hasbro.
Hasbro, really?
Let's see. Hasbro's Robots in Disguise cartoon. GoBots.
I want to say
No,
Adson.
Hasbro bought the rights out. It was
Huh.
from former Tonka.
Well, okay, maybe that. Well, that's probably why, because Tonka was known for making Tonka trucks,
Yeah,
like, like bulldozers and
yeah, but these were all
cranes.
like the GoBots
The
were
GoBots
all
were smaller. I mean, the GoBots did have some cool.
the GoBots were basically the cassettes
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Transformers,
I mean,
or like this pretty much like Bumblebee because
yeah, they were
Bumblebee was
small. The
the
minis.
smaller
Yeah.
one as opposed to you didn't have a full size Bumblebee. It was
No,
oh
well, Bumblebee was always smaller,
yeah
but the GoBots did have some cool accessories, like the GoBot Command Center. It,
yeah
it, it legs folded up and it was a spaceship, and then the legs came down and became like a brontosaurus. I'm like, that's cool. The Renegades, the bad guys in Decepticons, their ship, I think it was called Thruster. Again, it was a spaceship. Then when it landed, the head popped off, the arms popped. I'm like, that's cool. I mean, we didn't have in Transformers. You didn't have the
the
arc.
but the cartoon wasn't as good.
No, it wasn't as good. Um, it wasn't. I mean, but again, when you're, well, what were we, 6, 7, 8? We didn't care. It was, oh, okay, more robots fighting. And I mean, and the good thing about the GoBots was, how did they shoot? They blasted energy bolts out of their hands. You didn't have to worry about losing their guns.
Yeah.
That was one of the drawbacks from the Transformers. I would lose the fucking guns within an hour and a half of playing. The fists of Optimus Prime, I had them the first day. They're gone.
What was that the Optimus that actually had the interchangeable fist with the axe?
No, I'm talking the OG
Yeah.
Optimus. You had the blue fist with a hole in the middle.
Oh no, the blue fist with the hole in the middle. Yeah, that one just retracted into
Nope.
the body.
It popped. I had the one where it popped off.
Oh, see, I had the die cast, but it was the
Nope.
retractable.
No, I had the OG one where you would take them off and put the fists in the headlight spot. And but and then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh fuck it, they have GoBot powers now. They just shoot out of their hands because I lost their guns. But GoBots gets a bad rap. But yeah, it was a cool show.
Okay. And what you got?
Okay. Do you remember? This is a show, I swear to God, that scared the shit out of me when I was little. It was on Sunday mornings, Channel 11, The Inhumans.
Oh my God, the Inhumans were awesome.
That
Those
show, those
monsters.
monsters, not all of them, the Bone Guy,
Yeah,
Decomposer, I believe his name was.
the
He,
giant moss creature.
yep. There was this bone creature called, I think it was called Decomposer. And one of the human fighting force people was female, and Decomposer had a crush on her. So he would always go after this chick. And a few times he caught her. And this is the thing that scared the shit out of me was when he caught her, he would take her and put her in his chest.
Yeah, because they
And
had they were there was like a cage
yeah,
in their chest.
but then she turned into one of them.
Oh God.
And you see her grow. You see her basically decompose. And this is a kid show, and it scared the shit out of me. I watched it a couple of months ago with Doug,
Uh-oh.
just for nostalgic purposes, watching it. And
Where did you find it?
I found it on YouTube, I think.
Oh God.
Just for nostalgic purposes, and I'm like, this still gives me nightmares. All right, so I got two. What? Oh my God!
Yeah.
You can see. Oh my God!
Yes, I pulled up the Food Fighters.
Not to be confused with the Foo Fighters.
Yes, no,
These are
the
the
Food Fighters.
Fighter. Wow.
They toys that were
food.
A slice of pizza with arms and eyes, legs.
Yeah, hamburger.
They were terrifying looking.
That donut is like, oh my
The
God.
donut with a giant tongue sticking out of the hole.
What is that in the middle? Is that a pear?
That is a chicken leg upside down.
Oh my God. We had some fucked up toys in the 80s.
Yes, we did. Well, especially the hot dog.
Oh my, yeah, that's
It was just
looking.
long.
Imagine if it went the other way. That'd be phallic looking.
Listen, that thing's a mouthful all on its own. Nah,
I'm sure he'll make somebody happy.
Listen, they had names. Like I pulled up an article, and it's like Taco Terror and Private Pizza were some of the names.
Major Munch.
And they were constructed of the same material as squeaky toys.
Yes, except for the arms. They were like
Yeah. The arms were solid. You could put like weapons in some of them because they had like the hole in the middle of the fist. You notice they couldn't give you a semi-open hand.
No, they couldn't.
It was here's a circular hole in the fist so you can just slide everything in. He-Man did the same thing.
No. He-Man's fist was semi-open because I remember this on.
Oh, because some of the weapons
it had a little grip on it.
Yeah, because it would
the power sword.
Yeah, because they couldn't get through because it wasn't just a straight stick. So yeah,
some of them were opened.
Yeah, but
this just goes to show that in the 80s we had something called imagination. Let's take a hamburger, stick eyes, nose on it, give it a pair of combat boots and a hat. What is he? He's Mega Meal. What the fuck?
Major Munch.
Major Munch. And we have the Fry guy who just looks like
he's
pissed off.
The food guys were like right up there with the Barnyard Commandos.
Wow.
All farm animals that were like soldiers.
They opened a barn door. That's what I went Fisher Price on you.
Let's face it. We kind of these were the toys that we wish we would have seen come to life in a newer Toy Story. Yeah. Like give us 80s Toy Story where
give us 80s Disney Pixar get on an 80s Toy Story. Let's go. Let's go, buddy.
You know, instead of capitalizing on Buzz and Woody, why don't you try to see if you get some of the rights for some of these toys from back in the day?
Wow. All right, what's next on
your No, it's good. Your turn.
Oh man, I don't have Anus written down because it's all like embedded in my it's all embedded in my brain. Okay. Are we doing cartoons or we're gonna do
We're
toys?
doing both. It's
Oh,
cartoons
it's in
and toys.
toys.
Usually, remember it was the
Yeah,
'80s.
one
So
influenced the other. Yeah.
if there was a toy, there was
There was a
probably a
toy. Yeah.
cartoon. If there was a cartoon, there was more than likely a
Oh,
toy.
definitely. Um. Okay, let's go to cartoons. Was the Centurions in the 80s?
Yes, Centurions was in the '80s. I was
See,
thinking solid Centurions.
see. I liked the Centurions.
Yeah.
It had a very cool premise where you had air, sea, and land.
Yep.
It was air was blue, sea. I don't remember what color.
Green.
I thought that was the ground.
Green was for the
Sea.
water.
Okay, what was the ground?
Yellow.
Yellow. Okay. And what
A-
was cool about? I mean, the
Ace McCloud,
Ace McCloud
Max.
something.
It's always forget the other guy.
Yeah, and the other guy
I don't. The only one I really
was
liked.
Ace.
No, I didn't like Ace. I like the ground,
The
like
ground guy?
Max, because
Yeah.
he also had the wolf. So
No, he came later.
no,
The wolf
no.
came later.
In the cartoon, he had the wolf. You didn't get the toy right away, but the wolf was there. Shadow.
I thought the shadow came with the other guy.
Shadow was the dog.
Yeah.
Then they eventually came out with the Native American
Yeah,
one.
they had two more guys.
Yeah, but
It was right around then where I kind of got confused because I was like, eh.
mm,
But
well, because their suits didn't cover their full body.
Yeah, no. I mean, and again, this was how ingenious the.
They went along with Exo Squad. That button, it will slide the arm up
Okay. I'm just playing. I have a new chair. I'm playing with it. No, again,
because he needs to fidget with something else.
I do. But this is how ingenious the creators were in the 80s, where, okay, I mean, the toy was huge.
Oh, yeah, that was an old school. Like, if you had a little sister who had her Barbie dolls.
Yeah, this was Barbie was fucking this guy.
Yeah.
Barbie was fucking Ace.
Yeah.
It was on the scale of a Barbie. I mean, it was huge. I mean, that was the only drawback because you couldn't really use it with other toys. Like, you couldn't have your G.I. Joes with the Centurions because, Flint come up to the guy's dick. I mean, what are you gonna do? He came up to his boot.
He came up to his shin. It was
Yeah,
like,
if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But, okay, but the premise is there's a space station where it looks over protects the planet, and when they see who was the bad guy's name? There was two robotic bad guys, like half robot
Hacker,
and
Hacker was the sidekick.
Psycho was the sidekick.
Shoot, I'm blanking on his name. It's been
I will say Doctor something.
Oh, Doc Terror.
Doc Terror. That's what it is. Doc Terror. And I hear it too.
Yeah.
And
I told you were gonna start doing that to yourself.
Yeah, but I'm deaf, so it's just fine with me. So, and they would get sent down to different parts of the world, and they would have a specific.
Well, listen, they were able
all
to,
over the place.
but they were able to teleport.
Yeah, right. They teleported. They got shot down. They got teleported down, and when they're there, like, okay, we need this suit for this guy.
Oh yeah.
And they would get different suits, which let them do different things.
And you were able toys you could mix and match.
And they started doing that with some of some of the later episodes. You saw, like, Sky Ace's jetpack with the Gatling gun the Earth guy had on his chest.
Yeah.
You can mix and match, which was really, really cool.
Oh yeah. I had the toys. I preferred the land one because he was the cooler one. Because yeah, he didn't. It's like, first off, really, you're gonna put them in the bathtub with you? It was no, because they were filled with holes. They were
gonna sink.
Oh yeah, but when you had the land guy, he also had a helicopter attachment, so he could hit the air. He had the motorcycle for the ground. So and the helicopter even had the boots, like for the ski, so he could make the water landing.
Yep.
So I was like, that guy, he was pretty much the most well-rounded out of them all.
Mm-hmm.
But
I like the air guy because he was always hitting on the computer chick up in the space. He was trying to fuck her.
Oh yeah, he was, but she always got him where it's like you ended up kissing Lucy, the orangutan.
Yes, because you need an orangutan in space.
Hey, listen, the space program is known for having a lot of monkeys. They
And
sent a lot of monkeys into space to see if it was okay for people.
yeah, and then they started sending more monkeys that we trained as astronauts. But I won't get into that. No, I'm only kidding. I have a lot of respect for the military and NASA and all that.
Yeah. So now I got to
Okay, your
hit
turn.
a toy and cartoon line of come on, Visionaries.
Yes.
Visionaries was very cool. The holographic tech, it was like you had the little holographic plate right
Yep.
across the chest. You'd see which animal or what power they had from that.
This is almost like a medieval GI Joe.
And it really was because that was the story pretty much. If you remember the cartoon really was like the forces of good and evil, the planet had basically gone and like technology all got shut down. So a wizard was giving like bolt like two different kingdoms like powers, but the
Mm-hmm.
problem was like they they could they basically had to all pull from the same energy source. So they would have to come together to recharge at specific points, so they were always battling each other. They had like some of the weirdest powers.
I remember the toys. I never watched the show.
Oh, see, I remember both, and they were cool because they were cheap
Mm-hmm.
toys because they were smaller. So it was like, yeah, you could pretty much put these guys on your GoBots.
I remember back in the day, which was a Thursday, I would have a lot of superhero action figures, a lot of Batman, me and my brother, lots of Batman, lots of X-Men, Spider-Man. My brother also had the Ghostbusters Firehouse. He also had the Ecto. He had the Turtle Van. And we would have two big pumpkins like you go trick or treating filled with um superheroes. And we would get bored on a Saturday afternoon. We would just sit there, break everything out, and we would have
All out war.
not all out war. We'd have the X Men with Superman living in the Ghostbuster firehouse, driving Ecto, driving the Turtle Van, and we would set it up where like because obviously the turtle characters were bigger.
See, I'm surprised you didn't have a kit.
No, I didn't. I have one now.
Now,
Now,
but
life size.
but back
No, I
then,
didn't.
it's like
No, well, back then,
I had a friend in elementary school that
the big wheel.
he no. Well, actually, yes, he had the big wheel, but he had the toy for Kit and he had the A-Team van.
See, I never had those.
I would have thought you would.
No, I mean, I liked it. I got into it more as I got older. But I mean, I was like, yay, Night Rider! Yeah. Okay, what
Yeah.
else is this one?
But that's the
Wolf.
thing. Listen, the Visionaries though, they were the same size as GI
Yeah.
Joe, so it was like you could do a lot of stuff with them. They were, I think, they're still part of the Hasbro universe. It would be nice to see if they brought something like this back,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean they could do a live action kind of like apocalyptic story.
Yeah.
This could be a very good movie.
Well, it won't come out anytime soon because the writers are on strike.
Hey, listen, you know
I could
what?
write it.
Go ahead, Scab. I listen. We here at the Dragoon's Lair podcast support the Writers Guild of America. We
Yes, we do.
feel that the writers should be getting paid for what they've done.
Without a doubt.
And after the last writer strike, I'm sorry, but the studios should have fucking learned their lesson, because Heroes took a major nosedive all because of this. We got hit with so many bad pieces of shit movies that were rushed out
Mm-hmm.
when there was no reason. TV shows took major hits. And you know what? I know that the streaming platforms have been hoarding scripts to be able to put stuff out, but we support the writers on this show, and we want to make sure that they are paid accordingly, because the streaming platforms are not new. It should be written into the contract. These are not like the same residuals the way they used to be, and we support them. That's why this show has zero writers. We make this shit up on the fly.
Yes, we do. Speaking of writers not getting paid, I told you what happened to me one time when somebody wanted to buy two of my scripts.
Yes, you did.
Shall I inform them?
Let's save that story.
Okay.
You know, we
Okay, no, that's cool. Let's stick to the 80s.
yeah, because
So,
we're
Visionary is
yeah.
very cool.
So Visionaries.
Okay.
What do you got?
I got one for you. He's scrolling and I'm looking at my childhood flash in front of me.
Yeah.
It was a car. I don't remember which came out first. the cartoon or the toy, but one definitely influenced the other. Do
What?
you remember Mask
Oh,
Mobile Army Strike Commandos?
yep.
MASK.
The funny part is I wasn't a huge fan.
I liked it. See,
I thought the toys were
the
cool,
toys were cool.
but I didn't like the figures.
I had no problem with the
The
figures.
show, you know what it was? There were other shows on at the exact same time that were competing for my attention, and this was kids. We had this little thing called a VCR that we were lucky if we had in our house because you could only record one channel at a time.
Mm.
You know, there was no DVR, there was
And
no
you had to
streaming,
sit there, commercial pause,
and
and bring it back.
mm,
Record.
and if you didn't see an episode,
You were fucked. You had to wait.
you hoped it came there was a repeat
Yeah.
on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
You were done.
yeah, you missed that episode, you missed it. There
Yep.
was no,
No going
oh,
back.
we're going to go back. Oh, I'll just stream it. No.
No.
We suffered.
And you had to wait a week, sometimes two, to see the next episode.
Oh
But
yeah, when it was a Saturday morning cartoon,
no,
you
had to
were
wait
waiting a week.
I
If it
remember-
was syndicated, you got the 5 days, but then you had to wait over the weekend for more.
I used to, when X-Men came out on Saturday mornings, pop a tape in the VCR. I recorded every episode. I gave the Dark Phoenix saga its own little special tape, and I still have them.
Oh, see, I had to give up because I was doing that for a lot of shows.
I only did it for X-Men.
Oh, see, I did that one for every afternoon in the 90s, and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was like constant. I had every episode back to back, but I had all the commercials in between because
No.
I wasn't pausing.
No, me and my brother, every Saturday morning, 11 o'clock, Channel 5, popped in V's tape, recorded X-Men. I prayed to God I had enough space on the tape, because if the tape ran out, you were fucked.
Well, that's why you made sure you put it in EP,
No, I did, but
Yeah.
I would have like
an 8-hour tape.
8 hour tape, and I would have a shit ton. I would just like, okay, but no, Mask was great because one of the selling points for me was whenever like they made a vehicle into a toy, it kind of didn't look like the real vehicle.
Yeah.
But with Mask, I remember the main guy, Matt Striker. His name is Matt Striker. The wrestler named Matt Striker. Anyway, he drove a Camaro that it had gold wings like the DeLorean that folded up, that
Yep.
flopped up, and it turned into a jet. And it looked like a 1988 Chevy IROC Camaro.
Oh God,
which
the
I thought was cool.
IROC.
Yes, I thought it was cool. It actually looked like it. The motorcycle, they had a green motorcycle that when the guy flipped the switch, it turned into a helicopter.
Yeah.
And the pickup trucks looked like real pickup trucks, and it looked really, really cool. And I had the helicopter. I had Condor. That was the helicopter that turned into a motorcycle turned into a helicopter.
Yep.
I had the Camaro. I had the big. It was called Rhino. It was the big front end of a Mack truck. I had a bunch of other ones, but those were my favorite.
Yeah.
And this series didn't last that long, but again, this was an example of the toy line outliving the cartoon.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. That should be, they could do that. Make that into
That's part of the fucking Hasbro verse.
Yes.
Well, now I got to talk because we had a lot of cats, especially cat cartoons back in the 80s, but I loved Garfield,
Yep.
but I got to say Heathcliff
Oh, Heathcliff
was the shit.
Heathcliff didn't take shit from nobody.
Heathcliff and the Cadillac Cats with
Word-
Riff Raff and all
Riff Raff, Wordsworth, Mongo, and who was the other guy?
that. Oh, there's
Started with an S.
yeah. I don't remember all the names of them.
You talk Holocaust.
Yeah, but no, so it was Heathcliff was amazing because Heathcliff was just going out there,
Heathcliff.
like stealing fish, like doing all sorts of crazy shit.
And then he would come home to a loving family.
Yeah,
Heathcliff was
he wa-
Garfield if Garfield wasn't a fat bastard.
if Garfield wasn't agoraphobic and afraid to leave the house,
Yeah.
he would wander the streets like if he was like he was a house cat that no one paid attention to, like so he could just wander the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And then every now and then you'd come across Riff Raff and the Cadillac Cats, which they had their Cadillac that would convert into like all like they
A
had different
blimp.
modes. Yeah.
Okay. It was for the Cadillac Cats. It was Riff Raff.
Yep.
The group is headed by Riff Raff, a tan, short, tough, streetwise alley cat.
Okay. I don't think we need full descriptions.
Well, that's the only one.
Yeah.
They had Hector. That was the guy we couldn't remember. Hector.
Yeah.
He was always. I always thought he was always trying to knock off Riff Raff to take over the Cadillac Cats.
Nah, you know what it was? Those
I always thought he wanted to be in charge.
those guys never really like their fighting was bullshit.
Yeah. We had Wordsworth, who was like, hey man, he always rhymed his words. Maybe he was on weed. And we had Mungo, who was just the name says it all. He was Mongo.
He was the big cat with very little brain power,
Yeah, and
but
then,
but a heart of gold.
Heart of Gold. And then we had Riff Raff's girlfriend, Cleo.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, when you watch the show, you would have Wordsworth, Hector, and Mongo show up with Heathcliff, but you never see Riff Raff
Yeah.
with Heathcliff.
Well, there was that, and also Heathcliff had his own girlfriend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So
Sophie.
yeah, he had his whole
He had
like
his whole shit together.
yeah. That was the thing. I mean, like when there were two cartoon characters throughout the 80s that I truly like, I felt a kinship to. One was Heathcliff, and the other Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah, Woody.
That little asshole.
Yeah.
He took no shit
He
from
didn't take any shit from
anybody.
anybody. He didn't.
So-
Woody, I mean, those are great cartoons, and this is why kids today are so fucked up, because they don't have cartoons like that.
Because, there's no pure imagination.
Thank you, Willie.
Let's begin.
Is it my turn again?
Yep.
Okay. See, I'm trying to stay away from like the really big ones, like the ones that everybody would know about.
Nah.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Right there, man. And bang! There's my Camaro. Okay, here's one for you.
Okay.
This was based off of a TV show
Okay.
that they turned into a cartoon,
Okay.
and the toys were pure metal. The Bionic Six.
Oh my God.
And the name that they gave these guys, it was basically you had the Bionic Man.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not sure if
The
they
Bionic Man and it was the $6 million man and the Bionic Woman.
I'm not sure if they used the name Steve Austin in the cartoon.
I think they changed it a
They
little
probably
bit.
changed it a little bit. But what I remember, just like the synopsis of this, where can't talk yellow. Wow. Okay, stop. You're gonna fuck me up.
Yeah,
You're rolling past this. I'm like, I saw that, and I saw that, and I saw that. Just stop.
Focus.
I'm trying to, but you know I have ADD.
Focus.
Focus.
Said focus.
Whatever. Asshole. Okay. The main guy, the main Bionic guy, the leader of the group. It was him and his family, and they adopted a Korean son named Benji. Go figure. They were flying somewhere, and their plane crashed. They were shot down by the evil guy Scarab, and the bad guy's name was Dr. Scarab. And the doctor was like the good guy doctor was like, well, we can't save them. We have to give your family, the only way to make them live if we give them bionics, which is basically computer upgrades. So they were like, okay, give them the bionics, because the only reason why the father survived is because he was the Bionic Man and he was living a secret life. So now everybody comes out of their coma or whatever, and they realize, hey, we have these things on our wrists. And the father was like, yes, here we go. And he did this whole thing. He goes, bionics on. And then he changed into...
It was so cheesy.
It was cheese. And he turned into his alter ego, which had the great name, Bionic One. Okay? And they had two real children like from their marriage. And then they adopted a black kid and they adopted a Korean kid. Go figure. Hey, it was the 80's, so yes. So, but we had Karate One, which was the Korean kid or Japanese kid.
Ah,
Yeah, great names. Karate One.
so
The
racist.
it was the one son was Sports One because
He was the
he
sports
was the sports
guy.
guy. I forgot. I think the wife was named Mother One. Everything had a one after. I don't know why, and I forgot the name of the daughter and the other and the black
Because
guy.
it was
It
terrible.
was terrible, but the toys. Now, some toys had a little bit of metal on them. Maybe it was like an Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Like the cab was a little bit of metal,
Well, no, the
and
cab was full metal.
but it wasn't heavy
but
metal.
no, it was die cast.
It was diecast, so it was like maybe like a tin. This thing was like lead, and it weighed a ton. And I remember getting the play set for Christmas one year, and I asked my mother or my aunt to put it together, and they were like, "These instructions are in French." I'm like, "I don't care, put it together." So they did the best they could, and they wanted to see one of the action figures, so I gave them one. They were like, my aunt dropped it on her toe and like almost broke her toe because the thing was fucking metal. It was like scrap metal.
It was metal.
It was. It was like you go to the scrap yard, you melt down a car, you got a fucking toy. But those are the things that I probably had lead poisoning from it too.
I
Like,
think
the
we've.
paint,
Oh, there was lead in the paint in
lead in the
schools,
water.
lead everywhere.
You got. I'm hungry. You have a chip. Okay, you're up.
Well, because the 80's was so much fun, I have to hit laser tag.
Yes, laser tag.
Now, granted, laser tag was fun.
Oh, the game was awesome.
I still preferred photon.
I was gonna say, do you remember Photon?
I had my grandmother as a kid got me, and I'm an only child at this point because I didn't get siblings until I was already an adult. But oh my god, my grandmother got me the set of the red and green suit with the photon blaster. It was so much fun.
Do you remember the live action Photon show?
Yes. But do you remember being in college and they had the updated version of laser tag
Yes.
where they would bring onto campus where we were running around inside this giant like bubble dome almost? So
Yep.
laser tag has pretty much stood the test of time.
Now you go to places. You go to like places like Six Flags. Even they had a couple places on the island where
Yep.
you can go play laser tag.
Yeah, well, that place on the island shut down.
Yeah, now I think the only places left is in Fun Station.
Yeah. But do you remember some of the alternative blasters they came up with for laser tag?
I just remember the cool looking black one.
There was the
Because my friend
yeah.
had that.
Well, there was the black one, but then they had like the rifle looking one, which is funny because the photon guns, the laser tag guns, they look like something you would see in a sci-fi movie.
Yes, that's another appeal.
Yeah. But they did come out with like limited edition ones because I remember one of my first job was working at Toys R Us in the 90's.
I would have walked out with so much shit.
Oh,
I
yeah.
put this on the side. That one fell off.
Oh, we would hide stuff for when payday came around.
I would be like, oh, sorry. I would take a box cut. This is open. Sorry, can't sell it.
No, but the thing was, we had the return stuff. So people would have things that were left open and returned. I was walking around putting stuff away at night, and I was carrying, because I worked at the baby registry, I kept the Han Solo orange version blaster of the laser tag gun because there was the Star Wars edition ones. Wow. They had the orange and they had the black one. The only one that I found in the store was the orange one, but it was still cool.
I mean, just looking at it now, like the picture you put up, they had the helmet, which was, you had a sensor on it. So if you didn't have the chest piece, you could wear the helmet. And it had its sensor, and you shoot the sensor.
You were trying to get the sensor. You either tried for the helmet, you tried for the chest plate,
Or the gun.
or the gun.
Yes,
You
the
had
gun.
3 spots to go for.
Right, but the gun, you had to get it like right at the barrel, so that was like next to impossible.
Oh yeah, you were a god if you got
the gun. Forget it. But I mean, this is stuff that now, if you wanted to make a low budget sci-fi film, you can use this stuff. And I forgot to have right there next to the helmet, they have a baseball hat.
Yeah.
They actually had a baseball hat with a sensor on it. Like, you can't afford the helmet. Here you go.
It was like, if the helmet didn't fit your head, here's a baseball cap.
But the thing is,
because they were one size fits all, or fits most.
But I mean, the helmet looks cool.
Yep.
You give it. I mean, I'm not sure if you're putting this up or if they can see it.
No, they're not going to be able to see this.
But the helmet, it's a gray helmet. It almost looks like the Iron Man helmet if you cut off the bottom.
It looks more like a fighter pilot's helmet, if for something you would see in like a Star Wars style movie.
It looks like a fighter pilot helmet. It has a red stripe going on one side, a red stripe on the other, and it has the sensor.
But there was also a little bit of a W, like a red W on the top.
It had a sensor right about, like, with the top of your head, and in the front near the forehead, it had like a W for whatever that stood for. That's cool. If you give that a black paint job, okay, you have a fighter pilot helmet. You give it a little something, you paint it to whatever you need. There you go. You have your warriors fucking battle armor, and it looks cool. And it only took I think AA batteries.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, the blaster, because I know Photon used 9-volt.
Yes.
So they may have been 9-volt batteries.
It could have been 9-volt battery, but you're not putting like D batteries in there.
Yeah, it wasn't something that was going to be so heavy.
Yeah,
you couldn't
keep your head up.
Yeah.
I mean, and the chest protector, it's a chest protector. You wear it as a vest, and it was velcroed right to your chest.
And if you didn't have anyone that you could play against, there was, if I remember correctly, like a target that would go, and you'd be able to like set it up, but yet it would also fire back.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like you could try to avoid, and for like target practice, they had a lot of cool shit for that.
And again, if you didn't live through the 80s and you're listening to the show, hopefully you'll be like, that shit sounds cool.
Yeah, I highly recommend taking a look online, look up the stuff that we're talking about, because this is like pieces of childhood that you may never see again.
Yeah.
They don't even sell water guns the way they used to anymore.
They had water guns that looked. I remember my friend had it, and it was so cool. It was the Rambo.
Oh yeah.
M16 machine gun water gun.
Ran on batteries.
This fucking thing was the size of a real M16,
and they were clips. You had magazine clips that you would fill with water.
And it had, the coolest thing about it was it had the leg extensions in the front, so you can go like sniper mode.
Yep. Like, can't do that nowadays. Nope. But then again, those guns looked a little too real.
Yeah.
You could walk in, rob a bank with that.
With a water gun. Yeah.
And I think that did happen, which is why they had to stop. They eventually started painting them crazy colors.
Yeah, like orange and like fluorescent blue.
Which explains the Nerf guns of today.
But you know what? Again, the Nerf guns of today, if, again, you buy a Nerf gun, it kind of looks futuristic. You give it a good paint job, you got yourself a blaster from the future.
Yeah. And
you go spend like $200 at Target or whatever. You got a couple of Nerf guns. Okay, I got my army's set. My arsenal's ready.
Yeah.
You just got to scratch it up, paint it up. There you go.
Oh yeah, but painting it up takes a little bit more work because you got to take the pieces apart.
Mm-hmm.
And because
I didn't say it was gonna be quick. I just said there you go.
Yeah, but there are websites where you can modify the Nerf guns and stuff. So there's a lot of cool stuff that came out from way back when.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hit one more show.
Oh, one more show. There are just so many. All right.
What?
I'm gonna go mainstream because it circles back to what we talked about in the beginning. Gotta give my love to my boy, Darkwing Duck.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta love Darkwing.
Darkwing Duck was the absolute best. it was the lighter version
Of
of
Batman.
Batman.
Yes.
Because when you saw Darkwing Duck, he was more comical. It wasn't as dark and as gritty as Batman the Animated Series.
He tried to be dark
Yeah.
and gritty, but
But technically, Darkwing was the 90s.
was it?
Yes.
Oh shit.
Because he was the answer to Batman the
DuckTales.
Animated Series.
I just thought he was a spinoff of DuckTales.
DuckTales started in 87 and ran into the 90s because of the Disney afternoon.
Right. It was Gummy Bears. Originally, it was Gummy Bears, DuckTales,
Chippendales Rescue
Chip and
Rangers.
Dale Rescue Rangers, and then they phased out Gummy Bears. They moved everything else up the spot. And then they brought in Tailspin
Tailspin
and
and
then
Goof Troop.
No, not Goof Troop. Then they brought in Darkwing.
Yeah, Darkwing, but then because they were also phasing out like some of the other stuff, Chippendales Rescue Rangers phased out and they brought in
Goof Troop.
Yep.
Okay, I'll take your word
Goof
on that.
Troop, then it was Gargoyles came into the
Gargoyles.
rotation. So there was but that was the 90s.
Okay, so you think of one and I got to come
Oh,
up with
for the
one.
80s, the 80s is relatively simple. I mean, if we can just stick with the Disney afternoon right there, which would be Gummy Bears.
Gummy Bears.
Who in their drug-fueled like psychosis,
They take speed and they bounce around on their ass.
but you
and
turn
they call it gummy berry juice.
Yeah, but you take a little gummy snack that was in the shape of a bear, and you turn that into a cartoon show.
That worked.
And not only did it work, but it was in a fantasy setting where the bears were in the medieval forest, and they would mix their juice together to make gummy berry juice, which gave them special powers.
And the special powers, they were high. They bounced around on speed.
But they also had super strength.
They did.
It's like super strength. They could bounce on their asses and escape.
A friend of mine they made toys out of the gummy bears. And they wanted to say, oh, with the special gummy berry juice, they can bounce around. And basically what they did was they cut a handball in half.
Yeah.
And they glued the half to the ass of the gummy bear. And I remember being at my friend's house, who lived up the street from me. I used to play Transformers with him all the time. And he goes, oh, I got a gummy bear toy. I'm like, I want to see that. I'm like, yeah, but he doesn't bounce. Like, what are you talking about? And he goes, and he takes it and he dropped it. But the thing wasn't.
It wasn't balanced.
It wasn't balanced. So you would drop it. You would hope it would land on the ball so it'll bounce. You're like, oh, that's awesome. But usually it just ended up falling on his face and breaking his nose.
Yeah. As opposed to, say, I don't know, Mad Balls.
Oh, my man. That was kind of scary.
Hey, listen, we had a lot of toys. We had a lot of things back in the 80s. And we have a lot of time.
Okay, only because I owe you one.
Okay.
Silverhawks.
That's not owing me one. That's owing you one.
Well, yeah, no, I owed you one because I said Darkwing and that was 91.
Yeah, no, we talked a lot last time we came back to when we were in the 80s about Silverhawks.
Yes.
But Silverhawks were a knockoff of virtually the same universe, but never crossed paths with the Thundercats.
Yes.
But
same style of cartoon.
Oh, it was the same creators, I think. But instead, where it was like you got like things about like the solar system, lessons at the very end.
Which was cool.
My favorite toy, though, that I had out of that entire set was
the cowboy with the guitar.
Oh, I had Tallyhawk.
The plane?
Yep, that latched on. It looked just like the bird, and it could grip onto your forearm. I love that thing. I am so upset because I was not a good kid. My mom didn't like that I didn't clean up after myself. And my mom's method of cleaning up, which I would say literally millions of dollars in toys that would have even opened and used would have been worth millions. Yeah. Trash bag curb. I still have to deal with the trauma from that, but yeah, no. Tallyhawk was one of my all-time favorites because it felt like you had a pet bird at that point.
Yeah.
Because it was that big, and having it latch onto your arm, and he would really sit like perched right on your arm.
Yeah.
Now,
that was fun.
Yeah. So the 80s were an amazing time for toys and collectibles that we didn't know were collectible
Yeah,
back
we
then.
used it. We played with
Oh,
the toys.
we played with them, we used our imaginations, and we'd like to know what you guys think of some of the 80s toys. What were your favorite? What were some of your favorite go-to 80s cartoon shows? Send us an email at dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. That's Dragoon's Lair Podcast, all one word. Dragoon is spelled with two O's. That's Dragoon Lair. Damn it, Mike.
I didn't say a word. You heard me. I did not say a word.
No, I saw your fingers wiggling. I glanced over and saw it, but no, it's Dragoon's Lair Podcast, all one word. Dragoon is spelled with two O's. That's Dragoon's Lair Podcast@gmail.com. So send us emails. Let us know about your favorite 80s toys, your favorite 80s cartoon shows. We will discuss more of this.
Or even your favorite 80s memory.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about something that stands out that could have only happened in the 80s. Because there were a lot of things that we did back then that there is no record of. And these kids today have...
Which is a good thing.
Oh, yeah. These kids today have no idea that it's like, yeah, the things that you do haunt your job history when you go looking for a job because you post everything online. We had none of that. And
we never self-incriminated ourselves.
Oh, yeah. We learned keep your mouth shut. So we're going to take our trip and come back to the present day. But while we are making this trip back, I want to make sure...
Can't we stay in the 80s?
You know, I would love to. But, you know, we've got to make that trip back. But, you know, the Wayback Machine is acting a little funny. You know, I'm not liking the controls right now. So, but make sure you stay with us. Spread the word. Be a Dragoonie. Let everyone know about your favorite new podcast, the Dragoon's Lair Podcast. You can always find King Hamster Pellet himself on Hamster Pellet Productions. Is pretty much almost all of his social media.
Yeah.
You can find me, Blue Dragoon 13, on my social media. You can watch episodes of the show on our YouTube channel. It's going to take some time, but we have no more old episodes left to upload. We have uploads scheduled all throughout the month of May until our most current episode of the podcast. So you'll be able to see that on YouTube. So make sure you like, follow, subscribe, share, let everyone know about it. Leave us a review, leave comments. We love hearing from you guys. Don't forget about Dragoon's Lair Podcast on Facebook and on Instagram. Mike is more controlling those because, well, frankly, he is our social media maven. Yes. So, whoa, hang on a second. Catch us all next time. Mike, something's going wrong with the system.
Fix it.
I'm trying.